Hey there, and welcome to the new garden space. I have a little friend here. This puppy, unfortunately, is not actually ours. She's my mother's puppy. My mom's helping us as we move, but I am standing here in the new garden space, which is so exciting. There's a nice flat area and then a little bit of a hill where I think potentially, depending on how much the garden grows, that hopefully maybe we'll be doing some terracing. I'll turn the camera around in a minute and kind of show you, but we found the new property. We are starting the process of getting moved in. It's a little windy today, a little bit breezy, but honestly still really nice out. And it's just so fun to be standing on this like blank slate where the garden's gonna go. I have all kinds of ideas. I'm gonna have to try to draw out for you and kind of show you what I'm thinking as far as where this space is going to go. But just in general, the property here is on 2 acres. So we have 2 acres. Some of it is cleared and grass, as you can see. And then we do have a few other bits that are kind of more natural. So kind of nice, especially getting started. I can landscape and change and move things around as I go, but at least for right now, there's just some like naturalness too, which has been really pretty. We woke up here this morning and we're just like looking out the windows at the trees and the nature, and it just was so nice. And it's just like that really good feeling of knowing that you're home, basically. We are home. So I'm going to be showing you more of like the whole yard, of course, as we go and as we keep landscaping it more. But I think I've decided, after kind of looking at our site plan and looking at basically just everything that we've got here, that this flat area is going to be where I try to do like the greenhouse and the raised bed garden. At least, of course, I'm going to be, planting throughout the yard, but this at least is going to be for the greenhouse. So let me show you kind of where it's going to look like. So this is the space, and I haven't even like come out and measured it yet. Basically, I'm thinking greenhouse there and then sort of a rectangular raised bed garden, just utilizing this nice fairly flat space. There's a little bit of a slope, but not too bad, and then it kind of dips down into more of a slope. So this is where the terracing sort of area is going to be. But I thought it would be pretty with this kind of being backed up to the trees and everything. That'll be kind of nice. And as you can see, it's a nice sun, so that is actually really exciting too. This is south and then north, so giving us a little pretty good space of full sun. And I'm really focusing, I think, for the start on basically just the raised bed garden. Come here. Come here. Come on, let's go. Come on. So in addition to that flat area, as I said, we have a lot of kind of more natural area and some other space that needs to be cleared still, and that there's work to do. But I just decided I'm going to start with the raised bed garden. I think that it's going to be, well, it's what I'm used to doing. I'm going to do a lot of containers around the greenhouse, and we have a nice big porch, so there's room to do containers there as well. So I'm going to be starting with my normal containers, doing all that like I normally do, and then I'm basically just going to set up the garden that I kind of normally have had with a few raised beds. I'm going to hopefully order maybe 2 to 4 raised beds to start with, and then just kind of like slowly build it. And I know the kitchen garden is what I'm going to want. That has the tomatoes and, some flowers, some tomatoes, some cucumbers, all kind of things that I like to eat. Eventually, someday, I would love to do like more of a pumpkin patch. I would love to do some cut flowers, but I'm still figuring out here what I'm going to do about deer, because as you can kind of see, like we are definitely more out into the woods than I have been in the past. We've always in the past had pretty much urban gardens, and now we are basically out in the country. So I'm going to start small because I also need to just figure out what sort of methods as far as deterrence and fences and what I want to do to keep deer away from the garden. I've seen a few deer already driving up the road just coming to our house. I've seen deer. There've been a few that have been out and about. So that's going to be a big issue. And, you know, there's always, it's so funny. There's always pros and cons because I've wanted to have more space and more land and be out in the country more. And I'm super excited that we're out here. But of course now we've got the deers and of course there's also just squirrels. I bet we're going to have rabbits and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to take a little bit of trial and error. And I think for this first year, if I start, well, you know, I'm saying I'm going to start small and then we'll see how quickly that progresses. But I'm going to start as small as I can and see if I can just like deal with the pest pressure, figure out what that pest pressure is going to be. I've been researching a lot of deer resistant plants and different plants that I can plant that won't be as hard to deal with those kind of pests. So that I think will also be fun. I'm back here in sort of our like back half of the lot, which is very much more wooded, and I'm excited to do some real shade gardening again. This past year I had really full sun in the California garden, but of course shade gardening is something that I sort of started with, doing a lot of shade gardening. So that's going to be fun as well. The puppy is so rambunctious. She's so cute. That's going to be fun to get back into doing some shade gardening and seeing if I can't figure out what I want to do. I think it'd be really fun to do like a formal shade garden almost in and amongst the trees. I have all these sort of like future goals. So I would love to do a really pretty formal garden that's a shade garden. I would like to do a fire pit area and then really landscape around the fire pit area. As I said, pumpkins, cut flowers, corn. It'd be cool to do a few of those sort of like more crop plants. And it's just the matter of, just trying to figure out how to protect those crops. Fencing really seems to be something that a lot of people say is really like the way to go. That is what keeps deer out. But of course, I don't think I'm going to be fencing in a full 2-acre property. That seems like a lot right now. And we're just getting so much started that I don't want to put in anything that's too permanent, just so that we don't have to come back in and change things. You know, the other thing about starting in a new space is, of course, you have to deal with the water, if there's, you know, how things drainage issues. So that's something I've been kind of watching. We actually had some rain the last couple of days that we've been here, so that was kind of good because I could actually just kind of come out and see, okay, how is everything draining? Are things draining well? And so I got that was good. I got that kind of like little jump start on that part of the process. We have very clay soil here, so that's going to be another element. I am going to do raised beds. I think I may try to do some in-ground growing, but it's going to take a lot of building up to get the soil to a place where it will be happy and really support a lot of the growth of the plants, because just the clay soil can be a little bit tricky. It's also something to kind of think about with the water. But yeah, it's been kind of a wild week. Sorry if I'm a little bit scattered. It's been kind of a wild week, and it's been kind of like just so much to get going and get moving. But at least now I've got the space, so that means I can start seed starting and all of those kind of things. That whole process can start. So that is pretty cool. And I'm going to be doing some more videos about like some winter sowing and how I'm kind of planning out what I want to start in that in January as far as seed starting goes, because I want to jump right in so that we have tons of plants to plant out. I'm probably going to head inside now because it's going to be pretty cold. I don't want to keep the puppy out here too long, although she is very happy. She's loving all of these. We have a lot of trees and sticks, so there's going to be some work to clear things out, but the puppy loves it. Are you going to help me? Are you going to clear out my garden? Yes, find a stick. Are you going to clear out my garden? Oh my goodness. But yeah, now the real like layout planning starts. So I'm going to have to do some measuring and start picking out raised beds. And that's going to be super, super fun. Well, my mother-in-law was kind enough to keep a couple of the things from the old garden. So I've got a few, a clematis and a rose bush. Actually a pussy willow, that they look like nothing right now, but I am hoping that they will be just fine. I'm probably gonna plant them even before spring. Our ground's not really frozen, and they'll probably be happier at least in the ground than just. I also could not help myself. I had to pick up a boxwood wreath. There's so many good wreath varieties. Oh no, uh-oh. But this is just so pretty, and there's something so classic about boxwood. I'm gonna be doing a lot more boxwood. Oh my goodness, it is frosty this morning. As you can see, it's icy in the grass. It's super frosty. Super cold. We're definitely getting some hard freezes well before Christmas, which is not totally normal for us here. Sometimes it stays pretty warm even until like January. So this has been an interesting cold year. I'm hoping the ground's definitely not frozen, because I'm thinking it would be fun to get like some daffodils and some different things like that for in some of the garden spaces, just to plant like a few of those kind of things in, but we'll see if I get around to doing that. But for now, it's just so cold. At least the puppy doesn't mind, and I don't either, really. As long as I have got a big coat on, it kind of feels good. Hey there. So it's evening now, so I'm sorry if the lighting is a little bit off, but I have put the girls to bed and I am doing a little bit of garden planning, trying to sort of use like my iPad and stuff and just draw out a little bit of the plan of where I want at least the kitchen garden to go. And I thought I could kind of share that that vision with you and let you kind of see that. I went out today and I did kind of like just a big walkthrough of the property, just trying to figure out where I want to put the different pieces of the garden that I know I want to have. So I know I want to do a kitchen garden, which was the area that I showed you at the beginning of the video. It's kind of that like wide open area, and there's a little bit of the terrace space. So that's the kitchen garden. And then I'm trying to sort of figure out, as I move further on in the property, where I'm going to put like flower beds, formal gardens. So I just have been doing a lot of like walking around, just sort of looking at that. I think I have the basic layout right now for where I want, for what I want the kitchen garden to look like. So I thought, because I do so much container gardening, I do still want there to be a good sort of focal area space where I can put containers around. And as I said, that's our ice maker. As I said, I'm gonna do that around the greenhouse. So we're gonna set the greenhouse up, and I'm trying still to decide some of those like distances in between. I think that's one of the hardest things, especially coming from such a restricted space. I'm gonna give the refrigerator a minute to fill up the ice maker. There we go. Okay. So I always struggle with enough space. My last few gardens have been so restricted as far as space, just absolutely so tiny. So now that I have room to kind of do whatever I want, and I really have as much room as for me as I could possibly need, I'm trying to figure out like how much space. So I want to give myself like my greenhouse. I'm just going to do a small greenhouse. It's not going to be super huge, but then I want to give like a little bit of a, maybe even just gravel sort of patio space around the greenhouse. And and you'll kind of see, and I'm gonna put up the drawing, you'll kind of see there'll be the greenhouse, this like little like a space where I can put containers, maybe I can put a chair and table. It's so nice to have a space out in your garden where you can sit and rest and relax. So I'm gonna put that out there. Then I want to lay out this rectangular garden space. So I'm going to utilize my 2x4 raised bed that I already have, and then I'll probably get a second one and kind of lay those out along the back. Then I want to get some L-shaped raised beds. I just thought it would be sort of nice as kind of the, I guess just sort of like the edge and the perimeter of the container garden to have some of these sort of like little L-shaped raised beds. And then I do still want to use my trough planters, so I'm going to put those kind of in front of the 2x4 raised beds, and then we'll start just sort of a network of more terraced raised beds moving down the hill. You know, starting a garden is such an investment. It's that, like, you know, $400. People always joke like, oh, this tomato costs like $400, because by the time you buy all of the raised beds and you set all of that up, it starts to just it can get kind of crazy. So I'm gonna probably start with some in-ground raised beds, and then just kind of like work my way slowly as far as filling, or in-ground beds, and then convert the in-ground beds into raised garden beds, and then we'll just kind of like work through and then start terracing down. I'm pretty excited. I think it's gonna work out really well. And then I just started like going through the rest of the property and started trying to figure out where, like, I want to do the little formal garden, I want to do some shade gardening. I just started to try to figure out like where I want to put all of those things. Sort of question mark moments today. So I picked out this spot that is, it's going to be full sun. It's up and closer to the house, closer to the water access that we already have, and everything like that. And I sort of picked that out as a kitchen garden space. Well, then I started walking the property today, and I started having that like sort of feeling of like, oh, should I put the garden further back? It would be more private. It would be kind of like a secret garden. It would be sort of hidden away. But I think that, you know, a lot of times you do see kitchen gardens up near the house. And I do think that there really is like something to it. I'm trying to weigh this decision in my mind of where of this location. And I think I picked the right spot. I think my initial choice was the right spot. One, it's just closer to the water access that we already have. That's huge. You know, I'm gonna be probably starting out with some kind of hoses out to the garden. It's not in the budget to like trench out and put water out in the garden, I don't think. So it's gonna be a hose. So keeping that minimal is definitely big. And then also, you know, if you're gonna actually go out and like get tomatoes for supper, I mean, our property's 2 acres. It's not so huge. You could walk to the end of it and walk back. But you know, I don't know, it's just that much closer. And then there's sort of that like out of sight, out of mind thing, where I started thinking like, well, you know, if I can see it from my kitchen window, one, I can enjoy all the flowers that I'm growing, and you know, I always grow lots of flowers with my my vegetable crops, because it's always an aspect of my gardens, even in small spaces. It was always, I had no choice, it was close to the house, but even now it's like an element of my sort of philosophy with gardening, is that I want it to be something that's just also like a little bit of a creative, artistic expression for me. It's kind of, I kind of think of it that way and kind of treat it that way, where I'm just I'm kind of treating it artistically. So to have it kind of close to the house where I can actually see it, I think makes sense. I think that's the right call. Just, you know, there's like this temptation to like go put it back in the corner. But kept thinking like, no, I think I should resist that. I still may do some of the bigger crops, you know, like I think I said this as well, the pumpkins and so forth, further back. But I think the kitchen garden, I think I got the right spot. It's so hard to move forward with some of these decisions. I'm sure all of you understand this when you're starting your garden, right? It's like, where do I put things? And especially when there's not like just one obvious place, it's like, I could do different things. But I think I got the right spot. And even after walking the property today, I felt like, yeah, I think this is the right place. And I think I feel good about it. So got that basically set, and then the layout now that I have, I think it's gonna be really fun. I have different ideas of where I want to put, you know, some like tomato arches. And then I'm trying to sort of figure out too, there's this like natural part behind the garden where I want to clear that out, where do I want to keep it natural. There's going to be so many more decisions to make, but I'm feeling excited about the design that I came up with and kind of doing this like little bit of a I guess maybe it's not a rectangle. Once I start terracing down the hill, it's going to become maybe a different shaped rectangle or a square, but I think it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be great. I'm getting really, really excited about it. So I'm getting excited about it. Now is a little bit of a waiting period. I'm not gonna be able to start too much as far as the physical changes to the garden in probably not to the end of January, just with what's going on with getting our garden beds and everything here. But once they show up, then we can get rocking and rolling. And I am going to start like kind of laying out, I think I might even take some pieces of cardboard or something, or some, you know, spray paint, and start laying out where I want it so I can just get a feel and make sure that I have everything right. But in general, it's just so exciting because I have garden space now. I have it. It's here. We're gonna be gardening so soon, starting winter sowing, like it's all happening. It's all happening so soon, and I'm so excited. So anyways, I will keep you posted as I keep going. I'm just gonna kind of keep vlogging this experience, and then of course we'll start doing some actual projects here in the new year, which is coming up so soon too. You know, I started a little bit. I'm not doing a ton of Christmas decorations, but you know, I had to do a little bit. So we're definitely enjoying the holidays here. I got like one more sit down video for you next week, and then we will be on to just like getting gardening in the new garden space. And so that's going to be really exciting too. So anyways, as always, thank you so much for watching and staying tuned, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.